One good thing my oncologist did was he scared me into moving back with my family. He said, you are going to be so sick. You're going to be too sick to basically call the EMTs to come get you.
He really said that?
Yes. You're not going to be able to take care of yourself a lot of the times, and you're going to need to be back with your family. And this was when I first started chemo treatment. And I cried. I cried because, hearing that I'm going to be that ill and having to basically, give up the life that I had built up in Winston-Salem and my friends and my church and I called my mom. My mom's 95 years old, and she said, come move in with me. Your brother's moving out. He's going to Europe. So she said, come move in with me. So I had already made the decision to move down here, but I was going to transfer my chemo, and I was on 3 chemo drugs, and I was not doing well. Food was my enemy. I was losing 7 or 8 pounds a week. The nausea wasn't a problem. Everything tasted absolutely horrible. I didn't want to eat. Everything was nasty, and I was sleeping about a minimum of 12 hours a day, and I was still working at the same time. So it was cholangiocarcinoma, which is in the bile ducts, and I came up with terrible jaundice. It's the classic hepatitis symptoms, and if anybody's ever had hepatitis, it's massive itching, nausea, not feeling great. And it was actually my chiropractor who got a hold of my GP and read him the riot act and said, you get her in for MRIs and whatever. She made him do the liver panels just as a, she pushed. It was my chiropractor who really got this diagnosed. It was, yeah.
Wow, so chiropractors.
Oh, she called him up. She called him up. When I went back in there to see him, she said, I have never been spoken that way by a chiropractor before.
The medical doctors.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so she pressured him into ordering the sonogram and the MRIs and stuff. And then they went, oopsie poopsie. So I had gone to another clinic and I had spoken to them, and they had offered hope and innovation, and it was not hopeful nor innovative. No clinical trials for me, no new treatment. Basically, he said, we kind of open up the book and see what's FDA approved for this, and it's like that. What they're giving you up there, we're going to give you down here. I was with my sister in the car and driving back, and I just broke out into tears. And I said, I got a book a couple weeks ago, because I was also doing integrative practices with my chemo. And I said, I got a book a couple weeks ago, and it was cancer-free.
Yeah.
And Dr. Garcia was one of the co-authors. And I said, he has a clinic in Oldsmar. And my sister said, you know what? I don't have to pick up the kids today. You want me to drive you to Oldsmar? I said, would you do that? It's way the hell, we're gonna go. So we walked in, and there's Mark, and he's like, give me a minute and I can talk to you and take you on a tour. He goes, what kind of cancer do you have? And I said, well, you probably never heard of it. It's cholangiocarcinoma. He goes, oh, it's in your bile ducts. And I went, at the other place, the nurses didn't even know what that was, and I had to spell it and all this other stuff. He goes, I know all about that stuff. So Mark took us around, and he explained all the machines and everything. And this place was so peaceful, hopeful, clean. It was clean. It was bright. It was, smiles. So I called the other clinic and canceled with them. And then I pushed my move up a week because I wanted to start. And of course, I got a phone consultation with Dr. Garcia. All I can tell you is I don't have recent scans or whatever, but my outlook on life is great. I'm having a lot of fun. I'm obviously a lot happier. I'm 66 years old. The chemo made me look like I'm 80, so I'm back to like I'm in my 70s now. So, because the chemo took two-thirds of my hair almost immediately, and my skin. The immunotherapy just destroyed my skin. I mean, my friends looked at me and went, "Oh my God." My weight has stabilized, so I'm not losing weight, and I'm just having a ball.
A persistent chiropractor.
Yes.
First of all, what is their name?
Susan Sykes. She's up in Clemens, North Carolina. Bless you, Susan, if you ever see this. I love you. I love you. God sent me to Susan. God sent me to Susan. One day I woke up and I had heard about this wonderful chiropractor and had to call her, and she's...
And what is your sister's name?
Linda Yock, yeah.
And Linda said, I'll drive you over there right now.
Yeah. My mom's name is Irene. It's a team effort, and all during this, my only prayer was for guidance and strength. Guide me to make the right choices. Guide the hands of my physicians. Guide, and let me lean on you. Well, I think the focus on here is, your body created the cancer for its own reasons, and they're very complicated and whatever. But it's sort of a philosophy to really bolster the whole body and make the whole body and mind. There's a body-mind connection too, and to address the whole thing. So it might take a little longer or whatever. You're going to have to keep up with this for most of your life probably. It's a wellness kind of thing. And he's always around. We're called campers here for a good reason. It seems like summer camp. We all get to know each other and our stories, and we all hang out together. And the infusions are, it's like, that you're not going to go home and feel sick afterwards. You're going to go home. You might smell a little weird, but so it's all in supporting the body and supporting it. One thing, the other place that I was at was on the building, it said comprehensive cancer care, and I asked them the first thing, what should I be eating? And it's like, here they address diet. The other place, it's like, eat whatever you want. It's like, okay, McDonald's or whatever. And you would see people, and I would be sitting there getting my chemotherapy, and the guy next to me would have potato chips and a Coke, and then they would offer you snacks that weren't even really food. So, but here it's like, okay, they tell you what to eat. They tell you how to support your body. They give you supplements. They address your emotional component. When you are hit with a diagnosis, everything changes. All your priorities, your whole life changes. They address that. They have they have Dan and whatever to address that. The other places that call themselves comprehensive, they might have a optional yoga thing that you could go to or whatever. This is different. And even if this doesn't work, it's been a wonderful adventure. It's been life-changing, life-enhancing, positive. I'm happier than I've been in years.
Wow.
In years. This is the end of my 4th week. My intuition is telling me that the far infrared sauna that they have is doing me the best good. They really put a lot of thought into, it's a far infrared sauna, and it's really penetrating. And I think my intuition is telling me that I'm getting the most bang for my buck with that infrared sauna. I guess Dr. Garcia has figured out, diet, supplements, the infusions. Of course, we have vitamin C and we have chelation and stuff like that. I have a lot of lead in my system, which doesn't surprise me because my mom has a lot of lead in her system. And of course, we lived in the same places until I went off to college. And of that generation where we had lead everywhere, we were inhaling it through the gasoline. What really convinced me to come here was that when the chemo wasn't working and they were talking about boosting my immune system so they could poison me more. They talked about giving me a pump to take home. So I would go to chemo once every 12 days, but I would take a pump home, and it would be 4 to 5 days where something that I would wear on my body would be pumping me with chemotherapy for 4 or 5 days. And I said to him, I said, we're not talking remission, are we? And he said, what do you mean? I said, we're talking palliative, right? You know what palliative means? It means just trying to extend for whatever. He says, well, I think we can buy you a few months more. At that point, I knew I had gotten my sign.